Lesson 75, 76, and 77 from Learn Violin Fast, Book 2. This is a G major scale, 1 octave, and this is going to be the higher octave with low 2s, and then a G major scale in 2 octaves, starting from open G to low 2, followed by the happy, sad piece written by me. So we're going to review the G major scale that we've learned before. We're going to start with open G and with 3 fingers on D. And if you recall, the scale's first note is known as a tonic, and the first note of the scale names that particular scale or key. And key and scale are synonymous, right? So we're going to review open G to 3 on D. Fingers are on the tapes. This is the low octave of the G major scale on the violin. And if you recall, what makes a major scale sound like a major scale is the pattern of whole and half steps. It's whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And the reason for that uneven 2 whole steps and 3 whole steps is so that we know which part of the scale we are, and it makes it easy to recognize and make sense of the music that we hear. So G major scale has 1 sharp, it has F sharp, and that is to make that pattern of whole and half steps work when you start with G. And if we start with 3 fingers on D, the second or the high octave in first position of violin, because we do not have a C sharp or a G sharp, we have low 2s on the A and the E string. So we're going to play now 75. This is the G major scale, 1 octave, but the upper octave, starting with 3 on D. We're going to have to go to a low 2, and then pop quiz. What do you have to do to your third finger after low 2? You have to relax and stretch. Anytime we have low fingers or high fingers, when we stretch and go with sharps later, whatever comes after, you need to make sure that you provide an equal and opposite reaction, right? So if you pull a low 2, then you have to stretch your 3 afterwards. It's number 75. Now, number 76, we're going to combine the 2 scales that we've done before. We're going to do the lower octave and then the higher octave as well that we just played. And a couple of things, if you remember, thinking is asking questions, and we'll make mistakes when there are changes. So the reason why G major scale is more difficult than the other scales we've done before is now you have to change your finger placement. We're going to start with open G, use high 2s, all fingers on tapes, all through the D string. But when we go to the A string, we'll have to switch to a low 2. Remember to stretch our 3, go to the string, and then finish with the low 2. Now that you're becoming more advanced, we're not going to repeat the top note. So we're going to play the scale up and down with no repetitions. And as you come down, you have to remember to keep a low 2. And again, here comes the big change. Not only do you have to switch to a high 2, but after you have low 2s on the A string, and we go backwards, we have to stretch farther. So there's 2 things that you have to make sure you do on your way down. Coming down is the more challenging part. You have to switch from a low 2 to a high 2, but you also have to switch, go into a farther string. And when you add the fact that you're coming from low fingers and you have to go to a farther string, very often what students do is they play very flat on the D string, but it makes perfect sense why. They didn't switch from low 2 and they didn't stretch enough on the farther string and added that there's a low 2 before. So we have, this is what most people will play. Again, they didn't stretch for the farther string on the D string, and they didn't switch enough and they didn't stretch enough to switch from a low 2 to a high 2. So remember, the more changes you have when you have low fingers to high fingers, and let's say you have to stretch more, that is the reason why most people struggle playing violin in tune. They're not switching and changing enough. So here's 76, G major scale in 2 octaves, meaning you're going to play G scale 8 notes twice. So it's going to be 16 notes in total. Ready, go. And also you'll notice that I follow our proper fingering rule. Going up, I played open strings. Coming down, I used pinkies. And because we're coming down and we have to stretch farther and farther as we go to the D string and then the G string, especially when you have a low 2, you have to make sure you stretch. All right, number 77, the happy sad song. So this one is very tricky. I on purpose created it so it switches between high 2s and low 2s. So you really have to be mindful. If you need to grab a pencil, mark it in. So because we're in A major, every F, C, and G is sharp. We do not have to add the C sharp. We know it's a high 2. So if you see a natural sign on the C, it's a low 2. If you don't see a natural sign, remember to go back to the key signature and play a high 2. So if you need to mark yourself reminders on all the measures that have no markings, that it's a high 2 and you have to switch, please do so. The happy sad song, or the happy sad piece. 1, 2, 3. Thanks for watching. I hope you're able to make sense of all the high 2s, low 2s, and also on top of that, keep track of your posture, your positions, and be able to make beautiful sound. I will see you in the next lesson. Thanks for watching.